You must have already seen the trailer for Namit Malhotra's Ramayan, and without a doubt, a lot of people are loving it, even outside the India. The film is receiving widespread praises, especially for its VFX and CGI. In India, we have had around 4 or 5 major Ramayan TV adaptations. First came Ramanand Sagar's Ramayan, then B.R. Chopra's Ramayan. Yes, he also made one. Followed by Sagar Films Ramayan, and then Ramayan, Sabke Jeevan Ka Aadhar. And after that came Siya Ke Ram, which became hugely popular because of its massive 700 crore budgets or something, I don't know. Now if you watch all of these adaptations, you will notice that many things are surprisingly similar. They are not completely based on Valmiki Ramayan. Every actor who has played Lord Rama doesn't really match Valmiki's description of Rama, whether it is skin complexion, physique, or even his overall characterization. Instead of presenting the Rama of Valmiki Ramayan, they mostly present the Ram of Ramcharitmanas. And this is the same mediocre approach that keep getting repeated in almost every Ramayan series or adaptation. But the biggest question, why? Why does this keep happening? Why do we continue to see the same thing over and over and over and over and over and again? Even though it leaves many people disappointed. In fact, I am willing to make a prediction right now. Listen carefully, you can remember this if you want. I think for the next 40 years, neither India nor the rest of the world will get a proper faithful adaptation of Valmiki Ramayan. No matter what. I'm writing this down right now. Do whatever you want with that statement. But I don't think it's going to change. So why am I saying this? Because there are 4 big major reasons. That explains why it may take another 40 years before we finally get a proper adaptation of Valmiki Ramayan. And the reason number 1 is money. Money is the starting point of every art, and everyone expects money in the end. Without money, no one wants to make a risky art like cinema. But sometimes you already know that a movie will earn money, and instead of taking risk or choosing what is right, you keep running after even more money. I think that is exactly what is happening with Ramayana. Namit Malhotra's Ramayana. If you look carefully at Ramayana, it feels like the makers are more interested in creating hype than actually making the best possible movie. Right now, Ranbir Kapoor is India's biggest and most popular actor, so they cast him as Lord Ram. I am pretty sure they didn't even choose him because he was perfect fit for the role. Because if you look at Ranbir's appearance, he doesn't have a dark complexion, he is not over 6'2" tall height. I honestly think that even Adipurush, despite being a terrible movie, had a better casting with Prabhas. I think Prabhas is still the only actor who has come very close to traditional appearance of God Rama. And just compare Ranbir Kapoor and Prabhas side by side and judge for yourself how big the difference is between Ranbir's appearance and traditional image of Sri Ram. Then they hired Nitesh Tiwari, the director of India's highest grossing movie, Dangal. It feels like they did this mainly for publicity, so they can say the director of India's biggest blockbuster is making Ramayan. The same thing happened with music. Hans Zimmer is still a very good choice, but then they also brought A.R. Rahman. Like, come on. A.R. Rahman? There are far better music composers than A.R. Rahman. In my opinion, Ajay Atul, Anirudh and Amit Trivedi are far better choice than him. It feels like they chose A.R. Rahman mainly because he won an Oscar. That is probably the biggest reason. Publicity. This is what I'm talking about. They just want to do publicity. Now let's talk about VFX and CGI. For a movie that is set to have budget of around $500 million, the VFX is honestly disappointing. Hollywood was making visual like this almost 15 years ago. By today's standard, a movie with this budget should look at least 5 times better. In the trailer, they only shot the best looking shots. They fully rendered those scenes before putting them in the trailer. But many other shots doesn't look as good. For example, the shot of Airavat, the vehicle of Indra, looks amazing because they knew it was an important scene and gave it extra attention. But then there is another shot where Lord Ram is fighting a monster. Just look at that monster. It looks badly animated. At the same time, important shots like Pushpak Viman looks great, but at the same times, the monsters look really worse. The difference in quality is very easy to notice. Because of this, I personally feel that the real production budget of both movies is probably around $200 million, while the other $300 million is being spent on marketing so that Ramayan reaches people all over the world. They seem to spending more on quantity than quality to me. That shows fear and lack of confidence in the movie itself. Now the reason number 2. Simple, realistic, grounded story. If you have properly read the Valmiki Ramayan, you would have noticed one thing. Valmiki Ramayan is very realistic and grounded. Yes, there is no doubt that it has fantasy element, but wherever something can be shown in realistic way, Why use magic and heavy CGI? Take this scene where Parshuram gives Lord Ram the sarang bow of Lord Vishnu. In the movie, they are using VFX to show it. But in Valmiki Ramayan, Parshuram already had the sarang bow with him. He always carried it. But here's the quite shocking fact in the book. Yeah, this is a quite shocking fact. Lord Ram actually took the sarang bow from Parshuram during their confrontation. Yes, Lord Ram forcefully took the bow from him. He instantly strung it and placed an arrow on it. The moment Lord Ram strung the sarang bow, he absorbed the divine power of Lord Vishnu that was present in Parshuram, leaving him powerless. Then, Lord Ram aimed the arrow at Parshuram and gave him two choices. Either Lord Ram would take away his ability to travel quickly across the space and time, or he would destroy all of Parshurama's accumulated spiritual merit, or you can say Punya. When Parshurama realized that Ram was actually Lord Vishnu himself, he requested Lord Ram to take away his Punya instead of his power of fast travel. This is such a grounded and powerful scene. Instead of presenting it in that realistic way, the filmmakers are trying to make it more entertaining by adding unnecessary VFX and CGI. In my opinion, that is a very poor creative decision, and because of choices like this, people may never truly understand the real character of Lord Ram. As a result, many people may not fully understand the difference between dharma and adharma and could remain confused. Lack of understanding of dharma and adharma. I noticed something in the Ramayana trailer that really stood out to me. The way they are trying to present the main teaching of Ramayana, the difference between dharma and adharma, feels very childish. It looks like they are trying to show Ram as symbol of dharma and sacrifice, while Ravan is shown as symbol of power and revenge. Even the visual symbolism feels too simple. Lord Ram is wearing light colored clothes, while Ravan is dressed in black or dark clothes, as if good and evil can be explained just by color. That is very childish way of showing symbolism. The bigger problem is that Ravan does not represent power and revenge. He is the symbol of lust and selfishness and uncontrollable desires. He even committed the crime of doing Rambha. Yes, he did Rambha, who was his own daughter-in-law. And I also noticed that the trailer seems to pushing a revenge angle in it, making it look like Ravan kidnapped Sita to take revenge for Surpanakha. But that's not what happened in the Valmiki Ramayan. In the book, Ravan does not kidnap Sita because he wants revenge. He kidnapped her because he is a lustful womanizer. Surpanakha already knew that Ravan would not care enough to take revenge for her. So she manipulated him by telling him that there was no woman in the world who is more beautiful than Sita. The moment Ravan heard this, his lust took over his mind and he decided to abduct her. The kidnapping itself is also shown as a very brutal event. Ravan forcefully grabbing Sita by her hair and thighs and dragged her into Pushpak Viman. Her clothes were torn and she cried out loudly for help. It was a terrifying and painful moment. But in the trailer, Sita looks completely calm and unharmed. Like, come on. Come on. It feels like the filmmakers are changing these events to make Ravan look less evil. And by doing that, they also weaken the real message of Ramayana. And one of the biggest teaching of Ramayana is that good and evil does not have a face. A person who looks noble is not always righteous. A person who looks frightening is not automatically evil. Dharma and adharma are defined by actions, not by appearance. A person who has the power to sacrifice can still choose adharma, and a person who has great power can still walk the path of dharma. Light has a value because darkness exists. Day has a meaning because night exists. That is why I feel the filmmakers do not understand the symbolism and teaching they are trying to present. And if they oversimplify these ideas, it could create a very misleading understanding of real message of Ramayana. This is my fourth point, and this might be the biggest problem of Ramayana. And that problem is you. Yes, you people. You are the biggest reason why we won't get an accurate Ramayana adaptation for the next 40 years. You all need to understand one thing. Every version of Ramayana you have watched so far, whether it's Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana or Sagar Films' Ramayana, the point is that none of those versions are actually accurate to the original. No matter how entertaining they may seem, things like this Lakshman Rekha, the violent confrontation between Lakshman and Parshuram, or Lord Rama lifting Shiva's bow in front of everyone at Swayamvar, none of those events exist in original Valmiki Ramayana. You have to accept this fact, no matter how entertaining it is. Our biggest problem is that we have only looked at the Ramayana through the lens of devotion. We have never truly looked at it to understand the difference between dharma and adharma. We have never focused on what we are actually supposed to learn from it. We have placed Lord Ram on such a high pedestal that we have stopped seeing him as a human being. We can't accept that his complexion was dark brown, that he could get extremely angry, that he cried, that he experienced fear. We have never accepted Ram from a human perspective. Whenever a film or a series is made about him, he is shown with blue or fair skin. We have tried so hard to make him look like a superhuman that we are only willing to show his normal anger, never his terrifying furious form. We have planted this false idea into our mind that dark means evil while fair or blue means good. That's why to this day I have never seen an accurate dark brown Sri Ram, even in temples. He's either completely white, completely black, or completely blue, but never dark brown or even light brown. Why? Because then he would simply look like an ordinary mediocre Indian man, and that's exactly what we fear the most. You must have heard Osho says this: we have considered ourselves lower than perhaps even God ever did. We suppress our own potential, forget our own worth, and impose so many limitations upon ourselves that we become disconnected from our true consciousness and capabilities. You have probably also heard people say, "What am I compared to Ram or God?" But have you ever tried to discover who you really are? Or have you remained on the same path waiting for some modern, enlightened person to arrive before you will start walking, otherwise sitting in one place singing devotional songs? For same reason, instead of understanding Buddha, Osho, Mahavir, or even Krishna, we turned them into gods. We buried the path they asked us to walk beneath blind devotion. We suppressed ourselves. And because these aspects can never truly be shown in movies, Ramayana will always remain incomplete. And this is my request to all of you. First, accept Rama as human being, so that when someone genuinely brings his original character to life through films, you will be able to accept it and understand it. You will be able to understand Rama's dilemmas, his promises and his actions, instead of worshipping him only as a god who has no weaknesses, who exists beyond sorrow, happiness, suffering and human struggle. And these are the 4 biggest reasons why we'll not be able to create a truly proper Ramayana movie for next 40 years. Because after 40 years, I believe people will have much deeper understanding of consciousness and they will be able to understand the Ramayana better. Only then they will be able to create a proper Ramayana film without getting caught up in blind devotion and unnecessary controversies. By that time, people may be more open-minded and portraying the bloodshed, the brutality, the clothing and the harsh realism of Ramayana as it truly is. Maybe our narrow mindset will finally grow into a broader one. So that's all for today. Until next time, keep smiling, keep laughing and keep watching Impact, and most importantly, know your true self.